Welcome to the sleepover. Today, I'll be talking about all 23 books I read in 2023. That's a weird coincidence. I intended to read more, but giving myself the benefit of the doubt because I had a lot of unexpected life events happen my senior year of high school, and I was just getting back into reading, and that takes some effort, especially when we're, on social media and watching more short-term commitment things. But it's been a really cool journey. My goal was to read a book per week, and I was really strong from January to May, and then I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to read all summer, and then I just didn't wanna, man. I was burnt out. And also then I started a book, and it literally took me all 3 months, the whole summer, to get through because it fucking sucked. It was such a disappointment. Get a blanket, get a snack, get a pet, snuggle up, and let's talk about some books. First section we're gonna go through is books that I left unfinished. There's only one in this category, and it is Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs by Chuck Klosterman, baby. This was an impulsive read. You know how they say don't judge a book by its cover? I thought this had potential. The title intrigued me. I was like, this is interesting, right? It's supposed to be a whole what is it supposed to be? Chuck is that guy you dated in high school that is self-proclaimed philosopher. Motherfucker thinks he's Socrates or Aristotle, and you kind of just try to toughen it out, but then it gets to a point where you he says something and you're like, oh my god. I profoundly prefer to be turned on by any woman who looks vaguely fucked up. That's much more intellectually satisfying. We're done. This man is from an older generation. Not that that's an excuse, but it shows. It shows, Chuck. I chucked this book across the room, and I kind of want to burn it. So, fuck you, Chuck. Moving on. So on to the next section, which is my least favorites. The first book, this hurts because I love poetry. Please Love Me at My Worst by Michaela Angamir. I saw a poem on Instagram ads, and I once again impulsively bought this book off Amazon, and the other poems weren't like that one poem. Next. This is how I started off my year, by the way. Normal People by Sally Rooney. This had raving reviews, dude. In Book Talk, love that shit. We should learn with Colleen Hoover. I'ma just say, the characters in this book are insufferable. It felt like a whole lot of nothing, and maybe it just wasn't for me. Maybe I'll revisit it back in life because at a time where I'll really understand it. Maybe I missed the mark. It was just constant misery and suffering, and it was actually rather triggering. And the main character, she is just a doormat. To me, the character development ceased to exist in this, and it's just, she settles for Connell's just a fucking, what are we doing? Moving on. The Book of Awesome Women by Becca Anderson. I don't know. I had this on my shelf because I got it one year for Christmas and I never read it. It was just fucking boring. I feel like there's a way to write where it's both educational and entertaining. Maybe it's because I prefer fiction and I really need the storytelling aspect, but you can have that storytelling aspect in nonfiction. I don't know, I really wanted to learn a lot of things I already knew. It felt like basic knowledge off a Wikipedia article. I don't have this book with me right now. The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Audier. I love fantasy. I love a good enemies to lovers. This left me feeling unfulfilled, man. Another book that I got randomly for Christmas when I had nothing on my like reading list. I don't care for toxic men. I'm really at a point in my life where, to me, it's not something I really want to read about unless there's like a point to it. But when something is portrayed as romantic and hot and it's just like doesn't make any fucking sense and the story is rushed, there's no like attachment to the characters, it kind of lost me. Next up we have Our Town. It's a play by Thornton Wilder. It's okay. I don't really remember much of it. Okay, next up, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. Another one with raving reviews on Book Talk. People were like, it's heartbreaking. It was really predictable. There were some good moments in there where it definitely made me feel something, but the big climatic ending that everyone was talking about, I didn't really care. I kind of closed the book and I was like, am I just a monster? I don't know. I think she did a good job of conveying young minds and the angst and everything, because there were some things that reminded me of like my friend groups during my freshman year of high school and stuff like that, and they're definitely, I was able to relate to the main character sometimes, so I'd give it a read. It's just, don't expect it to be like life-changing. Next section is my in-betweeners. There's some books in here that I really did like, and I'm not trying to say they're necessarily all mid, but we'll get to that. What I have first is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. This book, there was really good writing in here that made you think and made you feel so many things. This book is about artificial intelligence. We're in a dystopian society, and basically there's these like artificial friends, they call them, and they get assigned to a child chooses them out. It's almost like adopting them, and I always love exploring this kind of shit at anything that even if it makes me depressed, like I said, I don't mind exploring those subjects, but I need meaning behind it. I think this book did a good job of that, but it dragged on for a really long time, and it was a little hard for me to get through. Also, the ending kind of just felt meh. I'd give it a read. I think there's some things in here in the way that they were done and the storytelling that is extremely important and explores the systematic loneliness of humans and what that does to people that are seen as less than, and in this case, it is the artificial friend seen as, and I guess quite literally is, kind of an object. Next up, we have Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. So I started reading this like a while ago, never finished it, returned it. I saw the movie, pretty good. I'm not the biggest sci-fi girly, I won't lie. I got bored, but the ending was really nice and sweet. It also explores a lot with dystopian society and what does love mean? What does feeling mean? What does it mean to be human? Figuring out where that line is, or maybe like making the waters murkier between what is reality and what is technology or artificial intelligence or escapism and distraction. Next we have Wonder by RJ Pistachio. Sorry RJ, I didn't mean that. It was just lighthearted banter. This story is a little nostalgic. We talked about it in I think like 7th grade, for me at least, and it was like a reread. I read it a while ago and I wanted to revisit it again. It explores a middle schooler new to this school who has physical deformities in his face and how he navigates that and making friends people being fucking dickheads, because that's all middle schoolers are. So, I like it. Okay, next up. I wanted to rank her higher. I wanted to rank higher, and this author will be back. This author will be back in my faves, so don't you worry. Beach Read by Emily Henry. Please don't yell at me. I enjoyed this book. It was hard for me to get into because there was a lot of millennial humor in the beginning. That was kind of just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The love story was cute. It made me feel something. There was amazing writing and storytelling in this. However, I just felt like something was missing. And quite honestly, Augustus pissed me off more than once. And I'm sure that was the intention. But like, I don't know, I just didn't care for him. Maybe it's because I was just not in the most romantic state of mind reading it, once I like really got into the story. And maybe I wanted it to be an anti-romance and I would have earned it that way. Maybe I just should shut up and appreciate it for what it is. But like, I think January could have done better. Also, the names are kind of crazy. I like open-ended stories, and I like when stories explore the theme of like, everything. There's no such thing as a resolution because life is continuous and it goes on, and sometimes we have to find that closure within ourselves, or it just doesn't exist entirely. That is real. Like the way that Sonia's character went about it, I felt like the intention was we were supposed to feel bad for her when she was coming to January. But she just pissed me off. Next up, we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. It's cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. Hold on. Even though this book isn't like revolutionary and doesn't use big words like Chuck clusterfuck, right? Call back. If you want easily digestible, if you want to get back into reading, I highly recommend this because it's just cute fucking teenage angst, and there's prom and friendship. A genuinely good relationship that like has conflict but is still healthy. Unlike Augustus. I'm so sorry. So sorry to say that. Unlike August. August. Unlike Gus. Oh yeah, she calls him Gus. And I guess it makes sense. Younger people have less issues. Whatever. But, I don't know. I think when we're comparing books here, and I was thinking of rankings, teenage characters being able to communicate better than an adult man. This threw me for a loop. Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. So I had read Normal People before. I was like, fuck this shit. Not reading another Sally Rooney book. But shit. I got these for Christmas because, I heard so many good things about them, and it was in a bundle. I actually really like this book. I really like this book. I don't know. There's something about Normal People that was just like, it felt so pointless, and like rich kids complaining, and there's just nothing to it. This was very similar to Normal People, but I felt like it did a better job of having purpose. I kind of don't remember the ending. The drama and the messiness in this one, it doesn't feel so triggering and icky and like, is this consensual? There's none of that. Time for the top 10, baby! I'm so excited! So we got 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I thought this was gonna end up higher in my ranking. I love me romance. I don't know, I think it didn't impact me as much as I wanted it to because I'm young and a lot of this I haven't experienced. But it was good. Next, we have All About Love by Bell Hooks. Oh! All I'm gonna say, if you want to be on a quest to validate your frustrations with men, I think no, it breaks down a lot of where love comes from and what prevents it from happening and how that can turn into hate, and it talks a lot about toxic masculinity, and it's just Chef's kiss. It's really good. Next, we have When by Victoria Lowry. This is a book I picked up at a book fair in middle school a while ago, and I read it before. A few times, actually. So this is my, I don't know, maybe like 4th or 5th reread of it. This book, I just really fucking like it. I don't know what it is. Again, it's not like anything fancy schmancy with the writing or anything that people might consider revolutionary, but it's about this teenage girl in high school, and she can see dates above people's heads of when they're gonna die. She is reconciling with her dead father, whose date she saw, and when she was super little, and no one knew what was going on in her family or anything. She didn't understand it. She, hates herself for it when that happened, when he died, because she felt like she could have done something to prevent it. And then also her alcoholic mother, a bit of a love interest, a good platonic relationship with friendship with a male. It's amazing. Police get involved on a murder. There's mystery, there's love, there's drama, there's just... I feel like I almost just broke my finger somehow. Another book I don't have with me is The Song of Achilles. Oh my god! So good. I figured out, you gotta go to the right TikToker for books, okay? For book recommendations. Someone who... God, is this just too harsh? Someone who loves themselves, someone who even likes themselves, someone who... I don't know how to say that gently. The Song of Achilles is a beautiful love story that has characters that you're rooting for, that, have flaws. Like, I'm not that bitch that wants a whole perfect blah, 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 like, happy ending. Like, I love the drama. I don't think I can put into words how much the story affected me. I stayed up late on a school night, basically read it straight through, and I have no regrets. Another book I don't have with me is Night Sky with Exit Wounds by Ocean Vuong. It's poetry. Collection of poetry. There's just like no fucking words. Like, exploring different kinds of poetry and new words that you're like, what the fuck does that mean? And you like actually you learn from the poetry and then also are able to emotionally connect. It's just like that much more of a fulfilling experience, and it doesn't come across pretentious when you come across a word that you're like, I'm not familiar with what this means, let's Google, give it a quick search. It comes from the heart, and it's like, it bleeds through the pages. Like, I cried. Convenience Store Woman. I freak out about this book almost every day. The reason why it's not higher up is just because I wish it was longer. This book doesn't have much of a plot to it, but the themes in it come the fuck through. It's a very simple, easy to follow story. It was such a meaningful, well done masterpiece, exploring this autistic woman who's worked at this convenience store for a long time because she likes it, and it just explores the materialism of society, and how people base all their self-worth off of success. And then it also explores she interacts with an incel, and it's just The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Also, having 2 first names, that's a flex. If you're someone out there who's takes pride in hating on rom-coms, you're miserable. Get a job. Get a job. Get a job. Main protagonist, it's an enemies to lovers. It starts at the main character Olive's sister's wedding. They just get food poisoning, everybody's sick, throwing up, yakking. It's fucking gross. Oh my god, the 2 people who don't get sick are Olive and the guy she fucking hates. And her sister's like, oh, but the honeymoon, we're too sick to go on the honeymoon, blah, 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 blah. You need to go, you guys need to take advantage of this. They're like, oh, but I hate you, but it's a trip, and it may be a little unrealistic, but it's fun, I promised. People Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I've heard some mixed input on this book. I've never heard someone say that they hate an Emily Henry book, right? But some people have been like, mid. I fucking loved this book. Another romance, are we surprised? And somehow, ever since a fateful car share home from college many years ago, they are the very best of friends. For most of the year, they live far apart. She's in New York City, and he's in their small hometown, but every summer for a decade, they have taken one glorious week of vacation together. Until 2 years ago, when they ruined everything. They haven't spoken since. Poppy has everything she should want, but she's stuck in a rut. When someone asks when she was last truly happy, she knows without a doubt that it was on that ill-fated final trip with Alex. And so she decides to convince her best friend to take one more vacation together, lay everything on the table, make it all right. Miraculously, he agrees. Now she has a week to fix everything. If only she can get around the one big truth that has always stood quietly in the middle of their seemingly perfect relationship. What could possibly go wrong? Friends to lovers. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's gay. It's horny. Really good. And not just for those two reasons. Reclusive Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. From making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s to leaving show business in the 80s, and of course the seven husbands along the way, Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic, irreversible ways. It deserves all the fucking hype. It deserves all the hype. Finally, my favorite book of 2023. Kind of unexpectedly, because I am more partial to fiction, but it is a non-fiction book. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is what I mean when I say I still crave that purpose in a tragic story. This is just so well done. And I was a little behind on reading it. I think everyone read it in like 2022, basically, like is that when it came out? It's obviously a very hard read to get through. It can be triggering. So like beware of that. But it is so needed and brave for Jeanette to speak out on these awful experiences, and I think it's also vital in making any sort of change. And it doesn't just go with like, this industry, but anything. Pain is a very strong motivator, and you can choose to either be an awful person and become the pain yourself, or help people. And Jeanette definitely chose the helping route. Felt like I really was reading someone's healing journey and like entire internalization of everything. And surprisingly, pretty funny at times. Stay hot, stay woke, stay reading. And I'm gonna go to sleep now, so. The other time we had a sleepover, you like opened the Doritos and you were really loud crinkling the bag everywhere. So if you could just like not fucking do that this time and get your crumbs everywhere all over my bed, that would be great. Otherwise, you're gonna have to sleep on the floor next to my cat Milo's litter box. So yeah, if you could do that. And my mom was really pissed off, so she had to clean that up.